The Pacific Ocean is far larger than most can comprehend. If one were to drill a hole straight through the earth from the coast of Chile, the exit point would still be within the vast Pacific waters. This colossal body of water, spanning approximately 165 million square kilometers, surpasses the entirety of Earth's landmass, which covers only 148 million square kilometers. Its sheer immensity makes it the most enigmatic and perilous part of our planet. Within its depths lie islands so minuscule that they appear as mere specks on a map, most of them untouched by human feet. It is within this oceanic abyss that a man was swallowed by the waves and presumed lost forever. But against all odds, he survived for an unimaginable 438 days. The story begins in a small fishing village along the coast of Mexico. It was November 17th, 2012, when Jose Salvador Alvarenga, an experienced fisherman, set sail from Costa Azul alongside his crewmate. Their mission was simple: a short 30-hour deep-sea fishing expedition. The two packed only the essentials: some bait, a small cooler for storing fish, and food and water enough for a single day. Little did they know that this voyage would soon morph into a nightmare beyond their worst imagination. Roughly 120 kilometers offshore, as they cast their nets into the sea, a monstrous storm surged over the horizon. The winds howled, the ocean convulsed, and their small boat was tossed like a leaf upon the waves. Desperate to escape, they abandoned their fishing gear and sped toward the coast. For 6 relentless hours, they fought the storm, steering through the chaos, their village growing closer. They were only 20 kilometers from land. They could see it. Hope flared in their hearts, but fate had other plans. In a cruel twist, their boat's engine failed at the worst possible moment. With no means to navigate and no anchor to keep them in place, they were at the mercy of the sea. Jose quickly grabbed the radio and sent an emergency signal to his employer. "Help us! Our boat is drifting! We're near the shore! Come find us!" Hope flickered as they awaited a response. But then the unthinkable. The radio battery died. Their only tether to civilization was severed. As they drifted helplessly, strong ocean currents dragged them farther from shore. By the 5th day, they had been pushed 450 kilometers into the open sea, a place where the ocean stretches to eternity in every direction, where no ship would spot their tiny boat. A search party was dispatched, but Jose and Ezekiel had already vanished into the abyss. Their food was gone within days. Starvation clawed at their insides. Desperate, they devised a grim plan. Whenever seabirds landed on their boat to rest, they caught them bare-handed and devoured them raw. They snatched fish from the waters with their fingers, consuming them whole. Even turtles became part of their meager diet as they drank their blood to stay hydrated when no rain fell to quench their thirst. To conserve energy, Jose learned to move as little as possible, keeping his body shaded whenever he could. The sun was merciless, and dehydration was a constant enemy. He discovered that seaweed floating nearby contained pockets of trapped water, which provided tiny but life-saving sips of moisture. During the rare rain showers, he spread out any available surface. His ability to fish became his primary source of sustenance. When the fish were scarce, he resorted to eating jellyfish, enduring their mild stings in exchange for precious sustenance. In such extreme conditions, he also used the sun to dry pieces of fish, creating a form of jerky that lasted longer. After weeks of battling starvation and dehydration, Ezekiel Cordoba could take no more. He grew weaker, delirious, and succumbed to despair. One fateful morning, after 2 months adrift, he made a grim decision. "I can't do this anymore," he whispered. And with that, he took his own life. Jose was now completely alone, adrift in an endless desert of water. Months passed. Jose saw no ships, no land, no sign of rescue. His body shrank, his hair grew wild, and his skin, scorched by the elements, became leathery and cracked. Then, at the 6-month mark, something changed. A cargo ship appeared on the horizon. A surge of hope exploded in his chest. He waved frantically, screamed with all the strength he had left, but the ship never saw him. It passed by, unaware of the desperate man clinging to life in the vast ocean. The agony of that moment was unbearable. Jose had endured 180 days alone, and just when salvation was within reach, it vanished like a cruel illusion. 11 months had passed. Over 8,000 kilometers had been covered by the drifting boat. Jose's clothes were in tatters, his body a shadow of what it once was. Then, one morning in January 2014, he noticed something strange. Floating near his boat were coconuts. His mind, fogged by starvation, took a moment to register the significance. Coconuts meant land. Then, through the haze of the morning light, he saw it, an island. Fearing he might drift past it, he jumped into the ocean and swam with all the strength he had left. After 14 months of floating in a watery grave, Jose set foot on solid ground. He had reached Ibon Atoll, a remote island in the Marshall Islands, 10,000 kilometers from where his journey began. A local fisherman found him, skeletal, sunburnt, a ghost of a man. For the first time in 438 days, he spoke to another human being. Jose was returned to civilization, hailed as a modern-day miracle. His story was published in books and documentaries, including an exclusive feature on Docutainment. What Jose endured is unimaginable. To this day, he holds the record for the longest solo survival at sea, a feat no one would ever wish to break. The Pacific Ocean is a realm of mystery, swallowing those who dare venture too far. Some are never found. But one man came back. Watch more incredible survival stories on Docutainment.